So what made you make that switch from figurative wellness?
So with figure, I needed to put on a lot of size in my upper body to match my lower half.
Mhm.
Um, just I don't have big arms, big shoulders. So I needed to put more size up there. And I remember 2019 when I did my second figure show, I was like, okay, I really need to put on some size in my arms, and in my back, to do well in figure. But I remember seeing wellness, and I remember thinking, like, that sucks that we don't have that here, because I would love to do that. And then they
Right.
announced that year that they were going to add wellness. So
So it's perfect timing then.
mhm.
So do you you mentioned you played soccer. I know I played soccer when I was younger as well. And obviously we had girls teams in school and stuff like that. A lot of the girls have like bigger legs in soccer. It just tends to happen. Is that like what made you think that wellness was going to be a good choice for you? Have you always had like larger, legs or more muscular is what I really mean, but
Yeah, I always have. I did cheerleading too, and I've just always had bigger legs, even when I was little. So
mhm. So that was like
yeah.
a natural transition to be like to go to wellness.
Yeah. And I think soccer probably did have some, part in that. But that's just my build. It's just how I
Mhm.
was always built.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how wellness just kind of became and just really took basically like the whole fitness industry by storm. I mean, it was so big in the Hispanic countries and it was gigantic there. And then
Yeah.
once they announced it here, I heard some people like start kind of like, oh, I don't know about this wellness stuff, like made some, derogatory comments about the division and so forth.
Hmm.
And then I mean it just exploded, so even those people had to like step back and and just be like, well, this is obviously here to stay and really kind of take over. Because I mean right now like all the wellness girls are probably like some of the most popular ones in the fitness industry. Do you like the way they're developing this division here in the States?
I do. I really like it. I think I like it more here, the look, than
Mhm.
overseas. I love the posing here too. It's a little bit different.
Is anything in particular when you say you love the posing?
Um, I think in particular, for sure, the quarter turns, they
Hmm.
just look more natural here.
Hmm.
Um, but I just think it's more classy, more elegant here in the US.
Hmm.
It's more like
Yeah.
for show over there.
Right. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Um, yeah, I mean, definitely posing is like a huge, part of the sport. It's such a big thing because you can have a decent physique, but if you don't, know how to pose, you don't know how to
Hmm.
present it, you can really, drop down in the placings.
Oh
As,
yeah.
as far as like you and your posing, do you have somebody helping you with that, or do you kind of, you're doing it on your own?
Yes. So I've had a couple of different posing coaches, two different girls that I work with.
Mhm.
Um, One, she lives pretty close to me, and then the other one's from a different state. But um, yeah, and when I first started, I didn't have anyone, to tell me like this is how it's supposed to be. I just kind of had
Yeah.
to look and see, and it was so new that it was wrong, but now we know better.
Mhm.
So in the beginning, yeah, a lot of it was just me trying to figure out what is it that they want.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that's part of having like a new division, right? Is that you're still like figuring things out, like what look
Yeah.
are they going to look for? While, we talked
Mhm.
about that it was around for a while. Since it came to the US, they have to kind of set their own standards, to your point that, you like the posing here
Mhm.
better. So it's a little bit different. And so, as the girls are competing, it's like you're in the trenches right at the beginning, so you're basically developing the division as it's kind of like, coming to its own with
Mhm.
Fran winning and, like the placings in the last Olympia. They kind of set like a little bit of a precedence. Like, what did you think about the Olympia? Did you agree, disagree? Did you have somebody else, placing higher than they were, like anything like that?
Um, no, I mean it was the first one, so we were all just kind of, watching and
Mhm.
waiting to see what happened. But Francielli, I mean, her physique, since she won the Arnold Amateur, I was
Mhm.
like, she's gonna win the Olympia someday because
Yeah.
she just has everything. She looks perfect.
Right.
Her and Issa, those are probably my two favorite. I just really love their flow of the physique, but I
Mhm.
also love how it doesn't look like just a bunch of size. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very flowy,
Right.
looks pretty. The glutes and their back pose just pops.
Mhm.
Um, so they're my definitely my favorite. So I was happy to see that they were, top three at the Olympia.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a that Arnold that you're talking about, that was the year that was the year was that the year that the COVID hit, or was that before that?
Yeah, it was that year,
It was that year, right?
2020.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was the year. I haven't been to the Arnold in a few years, and I was planning on going to that one. And like the day before, it was I was supposed to leave. It might have
Mhm.
been actually been that day, and they they announced that there's not going to be an expo.
Yeah.
I was crushed, but
Oh
like you,
yeah, I
go ahead.
bet.
Yeah, like you, I thought when I saw Fran win and Issa, come in second, I thought Fran was for sure a shoe in for the Olympia. I mean, like, who's going to beat this
Yeah.
girl, right? And so,
Hmm.
but since then, in the Olympia, we've had a lot of time, and so you had girls like Yarishna do well, and then you had other girls. So there was a lot of time to kind of dilute from like her winning to the Olympia, and so I
Hmm.
started to think, well, maybe I don't know who's going to win now. Like I was so sure before, now I'm not sure. So with her
Hmm.
winning, it was kind of solidified. Like, yeah, that's the look that they're
Yeah.
looking for. So.
Yes. Yes. And her physique it's one of those, her legs aren't like overly huge. And I
Mhm.
think that's where a lot of girls are going wrong. They're like, oh, we need, big legs. But it's like, well, you have to have that proportionate to your glutes. You want your
Right.
glutes to be the standout in wellness. But I think her being at the top right now is a really good example to all of us.
Mhm.